Many of the major initiatives that made headlines throughout the session ended up failing to make the governor's desk. Among the highest profile issues that failed were the proposals to bring back a presidential primary system to Colorado, a construction defects bill, and a hospital provider fee program. David, in a split legislature like we have, it's not surprising to not see a lot of bills make the governor's desk. But were you surprised to see so little action on these major headline issues?
It wasn't lack of action, it was a decision that these are bad proposals. And the people of Colorado since 1975 have overwhelmingly chosen to have divided government, either between the governor, the House, and the Senate, that you have some diversity in party control. And that has worked well for Colorado in general. And when we've abandoned it, it's sometimes led to extreme results, as in the wild rumpus of the 2013 legislative session. So I think the legislature did the right thing and was cautious and prudent net, and that's works well in Colorado. Herr Drumpf's attack of lies on the Colorado caucus system, as he's well aware, if you tell a big lie, most people tell little lies routinely in their lives, but they're not audacious enough to tell flat out immense, huge lies. And so they think if you say something that's really extreme, they think, oh, maybe that's true. And of course, that's what he did about the Colorado caucuses, saying that nobody voted, when in fact 65,000 Republicans voted in the caucus, which led to him being completely shut out by the wise voters of Colorado. So it would be absolutely sending the wrong signal in Colorado and nationally to change our primary system or caucus system or whatever our presidential system could be at the end of this legislative session in a rushed way. We've got 4 years to do it, and can do it with proper debate and not under the shadow of his big lie about Colorado. And on the hospital tax, I think the legislature did the right thing as well. One of the ways that the big government in Colorado has evaded the Taxpayer Bill of Rights is accounting tricks, so that now 60% of the state budget is outside of the constraints of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, and this would have aggravated the problem further. All they had to do if they want to spend more money is just go to the voters and ask. And of course, the reason they didn't want to do that and they wanted to use accounting tricks instead is because, as Governor Hickenlooper accurately said earlier this year, this huge, massive spending increase would be soundly rejected by the voters.
Eric, this felt to me that this is a setup for a lot of great, juicy ballot issue battles this November. Do you think we'll see many come from this, or maybe just a smattering?
Well, I think there's going to be such a glut of ballot issues. I wrote a column in the Post on this a few weeks ago. We've had a few years where there haven't been that many ballot issues this year, and I don't know how much of it really owes to the legislature and their inaction. But we're going to see, I mean, whether the liquor issue is on there or not, you have single-payer health care, you have various fracking measures, you have Tabor reform through the Better Colorado effort, you have constitutional reform of how measures get on the ballot, you have a presidential primary and the whole issue of unaffiliateds, you probably have a right to die issue, you might have a cigarette tax. I could go on and on. It is going to be an overwhelming ballot this fall, and that is not all good. As to the legislative session, quickly, a year ago, we passed a measure that was one of the hallmarks of the last legislative session, and the title of it was Pay for Success, and it was about social impact bonds. Let's hope the legislature's own pay is not geared to success, because there was not a lot of success coming out of this session. There kept being the notion throughout the session that there was a deal to be made, and that what the Democrats and Governor Hickenlooper wanted, which was largely around the hospital provider fee and the classification of those funds, and what the Republicans wanted, whether it was around roads, or whether road funding, or whether it was about equal funding for charter schools, which is a hard one to argue against, that maybe there was a deal to be made. At the 11th hour or the midnight hour, there was just no deal. There was no goodwill. It was a combination of the divided legislature and the election year, and that just shut everything down.
Ramsey, was anything surprising to you, your Capitol Reporter colleagues, as you saw everything go down?
Not particularly. I was making the joke that if you had a bill and you held a press conference for it, it was going to fail this year. All those big issues, whether it be the hospital provider fee or trans bonds, when that eventually popped up, there just wasn't enough wiggle room. I mean, there were, and the funny thing is that there kept being optimism, like, oh, we're still having talks, and there were talks. There were talks going on basically all hours of the day leading up into those final days of the session. But, not only a divided government, but, on the wrap-ups yesterday when leaders of the House and the Senate and the minority parties as well all had their press conferences, they all said the same thing. Well, this will get solved in November when we win. And that basically seems to be their strategy that we've tried. Republicans in the Senate, when they talked about the trans bond, they was like, listen, we adjusted this, we did the best that we could, and construction defects as well. We did this, we tried to appease, and we couldn't. I feel that construction defects might be the best chance to have action next year in the legislative session. A lot of Republicans seem to think that the Speaker of the House, Keely Hollenhorst, she's just so opposed to any sort of fix on that might be a chance with new leadership. But it really is just a lot of finger pointing and saying, well, this will help our party in the fall.
Patty, not a whole lot of surprises, but do you think this sets us up for a fun November?
Oh, a very fun November in so many ways. I went and it's too late for citizens to put petitions on the ballot. Those had to be settled by April, but they now have to go out and get signatures. They have until August for those. There's only one on the ballot so far, which is Colorado Cares Amendment 69. So the primary one I see will be a really interesting discussion because they were working on that before Donald Trump accused Colorado of rigging things, before the Republican convention down in Colorado Springs in April. These guys have been working on this for a while. People haven't liked the caucus system for a while. And the primary proposal is pretty interesting. It would let unaffiliated people sign up to vote in different parties for that presidential primary. And I think people want to do that, especially after this presidential campaign where people want to have more of a say in what kind of candidates we're going to come up with, because it's going to be hard to decide in November.